Hey, hey, welcome everyone to the monthly visionary panel of experts. This month we have creatives, and we might have two more guests popping on, so don't be surprised. But if not, that's okay too. So, right now we have the amazing Paula Brett. She is a beautiful, talented artist, and we have Sara Bernadette. She's the gal who designed my website. So, if you're loving idatemoney.com, you can thank Sara for her beautiful design work. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining us, for sharing your energy and your talents with us. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us more about what you do. We'll start with you, Paula.
Hi, my name is Paula Brett. I am a visual artist. I am an art teacher in my studio and online, and a facilitator of paint medicine, which is an expressive arts class that I run. I also coach creatives, and that's about what I do. I believe that's it. There are probably a million more things that I do, but that is like the titles that I have. Yes, so art instructor, creative coach, and arts facilitator for paint medicine, which is an expressive arts thing. So that's what I do. I've been in art for years. I have a Master of Fine Arts from Columbia College. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from University of Georgia. My father is an artist. I come from a line of artists. And for me, I really want to encourage people to embrace their authentic voice and use it to express themselves. That is my main job in life. That's what I do. So
I love that. Yes. And a beautiful artist. We can see your artwork in the background. So those of you who are joining live can see how talented Paula is. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, stop what you're doing and take a look. But if you're driving, just pull over first. So Sara Bernadette, tell us more about what you do.
Hi, everyone. I am Sara Bernadette, the Potty Mouth Corporate Rebel, and I do a lot of things just like Paula. I have many hats that I wear. We own an urban farm in Arizona, so I kind of dabble in the farmer life, but I primarily focus on helping the not so tech savvy entrepreneur be able to create the branding and the systems that they need inside of their business. So I do web design. I've been doing that since 2010, so about 13 years now. And I build websites that allow my clients to be able to make their own updates and not rely on me and have to be like, help, I need you. I want them to be able to put updates on there as they go and not have to worry about breaking anything. So I focus on building systems that are easy to use and are simple for you to implement into your business. And as Lisa mentioned, I did design her website. I know she's been making some updates to it. I saw those recently, so good job. And just one of those things where I love to help people who think that they can't do something, get it done, get it up there, get it live, and then be able to maintain it for themselves. And I'm always there for support if they need it. But I primarily am designing and doing a lot of different things. I also am an artist, but I don't sell my art like Paula does. I don't finish it either. But this is kind of symbolic behind me here of this young lady that nothing has to be perfect to still be beautiful. So I like to put it up there, even though she's not done. Got one hiding behind me too, and there's 2 more up there. But yeah, I never seem to finish my. There must be something about that.
I love that though. I thought it was supposed to be like that.
No, yeah, she's supposed to have eyeballs. Well, at least skeleton sockets, I guess you say. But yeah, she's not complete. And there's 3 more sitting down here that are not done either. But there's just a representation for me that like with a website, same thing. It's never done. It's never done. It will always be updated and shifted and done. So I leave that as a reminder over my shoulder that it can still be functional and beautiful, even if it's not complete.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that tidbit. I didn't know that, and I've seen that background several times.
Yeah, the other three up there are done.
Yeah.
This one right behind me there on my shoulder is not, but she just hangs out.
You do all that freehand?
I did. Yes.
Oh, wow. Talented. You guys, I can draw a stick figure. I'm good. I did draw a snowman. When you go to those paint classes with a wine. What is it called? I don't know. Paint with a twist.
Mhm.
And we did a guided free-handed snowman, which I will proudly display when Christmas comes, because I just take it out at Christmas. And it's weird putting it up, now that I live at the beach. I have this snowman with this wintry scene, and I'm like, I need a beach themed one instead.
There you go.
A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful talent, and I'm so glad you are both sharing it with the world. Creative projects often involve financial risk. How do you decide which projects are worth the investment, and how do you mitigate those risks? Paula, we'll start with you.
All right. So one of the advice pieces I give to my students when I'm teaching painting, I say, paint like a millionaire. And that's just having to do with being really open with your paint. All right. Being an artist, when people start to delve, if you're wanting to go into painting or anything, to get their supplies, it's expensive. You just have to budget for it. Honestly, I just buy what I can afford and get as much of it as you can, and salvage other pieces from other places. There's risks always. I have applied for grants and won grants in ways that I was never able to do before. That is a huge one, and you shouldn't be intimidated by that, because the grants are for you, and if you just walk yourself step by step through the process, get some people to proofread them, you can get grants. It's not that hard. So that's something that I recommend. I also recommend, being as creative as possible with your finances, borrowing where you can, taking a little bit of debt when it's necessary, because letting money stop you to do your creative projects and your work is really just, it's really an excuse. Like, you really have to, there's always a way. I've always found a way. And I've never really gone into major debt over it, ever. So you just, do what you can with what you have, and then sell. Make more money, and then bring it back into your business. That's what I have to say about that. Yeah.
Oh, I love that answer. Yeah, I didn't realize there was grants available. Perhaps we can share that information in the show notes, so creatives can take advantage of that, because that's awesome.
Well, they're everywhere. You have to just look. I don't really like. There's local grants. There's federal grants. There's grants, and they're often based in your community.
Okay.
And then some of them are online. So yeah,
so probably just Google grants for artists.
Do a little bit of Googling.
Okay,
yep.
Perfect. Awesome.
Good
Thank
old
you
Google.
so much. We definitely love Google. Sara Bernadette, same question.
Absolutely. So this is an excellent question, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're just getting started and you're like, I don't know what I need, what I don't need. I don't want to waste money on something that's, expensive, because websites aren't exactly the cheapest thing out there, right? They involve a lot behind the scenes. So what may look simple to the front of everything, there's a whole lot going on. And that's why their price tends to creep up on you. My best advice in regards to decide what's worth investing in and what's not is that start with what you need right now. Like right this minute, what do you need to get your clients, your customers able to purchase from you on your website? And then know, because websites are never done, that you can add. You can add to it. You can make adjustments to it after the fact. Just because it's live doesn't mean you can't be building in behind the scenes, or even having somebody build for you behind the scenes. There's nothing that says that you can't go live with a single page that only has one thing on it. That is perfectly acceptable if that's what your budget allows. And as you use that to, as Paula said, sell and make more money to invest in your business, you can then add the next page and the next page and the next page. And you can grow that website to the vision you have. It does not have to be everything you want all at once. It can be stacked up and added up. And either it's something that you hire somebody to do for you, or you can have it be something where you learn the skills to add to it yourself. I built a website for a realtor who didn't have the time, but had the skills to build the pages out. He just was like, I just need you to make it look really nice, and I need it functional. as quickly as possible. And then I can probably add things as we need to. I just need you to set the tone and set the base of what am I putting in here? And I did that, and it was a low cost site. It wasn't one of my most expensive sites I've ever done, but he has been adding to it. And because I set that tone for him and that starting point, he now easily can blend in, and it looks just like I built all of those pages, even though there's about 15 of them now. I only did 3 or 4 pages in the beginning, but he's been adding and adding, and it looks as if it was one cohesive project, because he was able to get the starting point he needed where his budget allowed. And then either he'll come to me or he'll do it himself, depending on his availability and the budget that allows for that. So it's been really cool to see that project grow and look so nice, which I'm very proud of. I'm like, oh, good, you didn't mess it up, which is what is always a fear as a creative, that you hand over the reins and like, oh gosh, please still look like I would want it to look, right, as a representation of my work. But I set that template up nicely for him to be able to just build onto it. And your projects don't have to be their end goal straight out the gate, especially if you're just launching. I work with a lot of brand new businesses that don't have any budget at all, and they just need a sales page. And I'm like, cool, here's a sales page. We'll get it up, we'll get it live. And then if you want me to build something down the road, come to me when you're ready for it, and we'll do that. And it works out really, really well to manage those investments and the risks of like, I'm putting it in there, am I going to get the return? Oh, don't put all of it in one, let it spread out a little bit. And that'll help you kind of ease that fear of, this is a big investment, I don't know that I can do it.
Yeah, and that's so important, especially for brand new entrepreneurs who, you know, are like, oh, do I need a website? Can I invest? And I know ClickFunnels and things like that are sort of popular. I know people are changing from that modality as well, but really getting the word out there, like, how do I best communicate what I have with others, and making those smart investments. And I love to say we get to choose money buckets. So we have an operating expense. So when we need to invest in our business through tech, we have allocations for that. And then we can say, yeah, I have this much money to do this. So creating those sales so that you can fund those money buckets and then invest in the beautiful artistic world that helps you increase the ROI in your business and helps the other person as well. So I love that you both have such a great perspective on that. So hey, welcome, Alexis.
Hello, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me fine?
We can hear you, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. We understand there was a time zone confusion.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have my podcast microphone out.
Well, we can still hear you, so you're doing good.
Perfect. So
well,
good
you can quickly just introduce yourself. Tell us all about what you do in your creative side.
Oh, yeah. So I'm a portrait photographer, and I work primarily with other creatives, artists, intuitive entrepreneurs. Sorry, I just kind of literally rushed here. And I love to help them create a good business system and a strong personal brand so that they can profit from their art and work and gifts that they can share with the world. So that is the short.
Yeah, big deep breath. You're doing fine. Thank you. I know you're like, wait, I thought I had 50 minutes. No, time zone change. So the first question that the other two meet Sara and Paula, both creatives as well, just answered this question. So creative projects often involve financial risk. How do you decide which projects are worth the investment, and how do you mitigate those risks?
Oh, that is a multifaceted question, because you kind of need to get comfortable with the possibility that you might actually make the wrong decision and pick the wrong project. And so when you do that and you start thinking, okay, this is the project we're going for, it is the right project because I decided to do that, and you start getting that nervous system regulation to begin with, everything expands. And you can get all of the creative solutions that you need to think, well, where can money come from if I need to fund it? Is it something that I can charge a client for, depending on what the project is? So it's a lot less risky than a lot of things in the world. Staying stagnant is also as risky as it is to try and increase what you're doing. And that's the nature of creativity. It is thinking outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
In the way you manage your finances, it may not be completely linear, but that doesn't mean that you're not on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your viewpoint on that. I love it. So the next question, in the world of creative work, income can be unpredictable. How do you manage irregular income streams and create financial stability? Sara Bernadette, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. So that is another great question. And the best answer I can give you is multiple streams. Diversify your income. As we all, that not true sentiment, but the starving artist kind of mentality doesn't have to be true if you recognize that your skills are transmutable to a lot of different things. I do have that creative skill that I can use to build websites for clients or branding for clients if I need to. But it also recognize that my ability to see the vision of a brand and understand the design flow on a sales page that is useful to making sure that the product is displayed in a way is also great for my understanding of like marketing. And so I have a business coaching program in addition to the design work that I do. We have, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have our urban farm. And I put my design skills to use to grow that and have a good presence in what that we're doing. So I'm not just using it and being like, this is what I do, buy this thing. It's here's this beautiful thing that I've created that is now its own entity in itself, the farm. And everyone's able to come into that space and kind of get a different feel based on what we wanted that message to come across. It's called Groovy Greens Farm, so it's all hippied out and kind of like tie-dyed and all that good fun stuff, but that creates its own energy. So I'm utilizing my artistic skills to be able to visually create something that stands alone on its own. But multiple streams of income in any way that you can is always a good thing. You can create coloring books to sell. You can create products to sell at like farmers markets. Like I plan to have t-shirts and all sorts of other things that I can use my creative skills for that are simply just me getting to do something that makes me happy. And then it turns into a product that other people desire because it's visually appealing or whatever. So multiple streams of income, especially as a creative, to help with that feast or famine that can sometimes happen depending on how you're feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I have no creativity today. But if you have multiple things that you've worked on and you can just focus on different things when one's not that popular. I used to do face painting and balloon twisting. And in Arizona, that's fine from fall all the way through to summer's beginning. But in the middle of the heat of the summer, balloons don't do well. They pop instantly because it's too hot, and the face paint melts right off their face as you're putting it on. So I can't work during the summer as a face painter because it's not fun to have all that happen. So during the summer, I need something else to do. And that's where web design can come in because I don't have to leave my air conditioned house. And I'm okay with that in the summertime. So
I love that. Yeah. And those are some great ways to bring in money while using your creative style. I love that. Who would have thought to do all those different things? The coloring books, those are huge, especially with adults. I know so many adults that are ordering coloring books right now.
I have a stash of them myself. So
yeah.
I was gonna say, I bet you guys do too.
That's awesome. When I moved, I gave away my one coloring book, and I have not purchased any. I'm not a creative, you guys. Like I said, I did use art to help, abstract art to help me break through money blocks. I worked with a money mindset coach about 3 years ago. Don't quote me on the time frame. And we exercising that part of my brain helped me to understand the emotional aspect of connecting with money, and that's how I Date Money got started. And it's like, oh, there's an emotional aspect in the creative. You really tap into that because you're using the side of the brain that I'm like, foreign. What are you doing? Huh? I like to personify everything. And it's so amazing. I painted rocks when my mom passed away to help, with a green process. So I have like little painted rocks and, very abstract type of thing. So definitely love how you can tap into that. And I know back when I was a kid in the 70s, you can actually buy painted rocks. It was a lot of fun. But now I've found a few in the neighborhood. People were putting them around for the fall festival holidays. So that was fun. Paula, same question. In the world of creative work, income can be unpredictable. How do you manage irregular income streams and create financial stability?
Yes, diversify the income streams. Same, but different, I'm going to say the same, but different ways. So for me, I have a gallery. I have several galleries who sell for me. So I use them to help me sell. And I would also say, don't be intimidated by approaching galleries. If you're a fine artist and you look for a gallery that fits your style, and do not be afraid to go into their gallery if it's local to you, hopefully, and talk to the gallerist and get yourself a gallery. I'm not kidding you. It takes a lot. It gives great self-esteem. It also just is another income stream for you. Yes, they take 50%. I don't care. Like, I will still sell my own work. So that's one stream, is the gallery. The next stream is me selling my own work with your own website, right? You don't necessarily need a website to sell art today. You can sell on Instagram. You can sell on Facebook. You can sell on Etsy. There are another one is teaching that I do, of course, and you also don't need a studio to teach out of. You can teach online. That's what we do, right? We all know about teaching online. So many ways to teach, so many ways to instruct. Art therapy is another section that I do. Again, that is something that I have a certification in. It's not really art therapy, it's more expressive arts, but it is a therapeutic way. So like, another thing I'm going to do to build that is to cold call some local counselors, right? And let them know that I have these classes. I mean, this is my passion. So I'm doing it. Also find things that you like. If you're not a teacher and you're not a counselor, like a arts therapist, no, that's not going to be for you. Do the things that, like Sara Bernadette has got her own way. I've got my own way, and we're all creatives. So another one, if you're interested in this is newer for me too, but I'm doing this, is licensing your work. And that can be extremely lucrative. So I'm learning a lot about that. In fact, I was like, oh, I definitely want my work on hotel walls. And it was just a thought. And I knew, like, I had to research this and get into it some more. Well, lo and behold, just actually 2 weeks ago, I got an email that said, hi, we want to license your work on our hotel wall. I was like,
awesome.
Yes, universe, you heard me. That's a little late, but it's okay. I'll still take it. But you know what? You just open one thing and the next thing will come. So getting in touch with local art consultant groups around you, letting them know you exist. They don't have to just be around you. I mean, going into art shows, you can go, there's just so many ways. I think I'm just giving you ways to, like, sell your art is what I'm kind of saying, but that is what we're talking about, making money, right. Your creative bones, right? And those are some of the basic ways for me, and coaching, and I do mostly one-to-one coaching right now. I've done group programs before, but I love the one-to-one. So all of those things and that's what, honestly, as I look around, other creatives all diversify. Like, I don't know how people don't, and I personally, as ADHD brain and like getting bored too easily, I want to do more than one thing. Yeah. So it works perfectly.
I love it. Well, congrats on being on the hotel walls. I always recognized our local community center. They have local artists. Their paintings are all around the center, and you can buy them, which is awesome because they're like right here. And I live in Florida, and there's so many beautiful artists, especially using like natural raw materials, which is fantastic. And yeah, definitely the coaching art therapy is huge. And I know, like I said earlier, it's helped me a lot. So, if you got some blockers out there, Paula's your girl for that. Alexis.
Okay.
I'm changing your name.
That's fine.
Alexis.
Before I forget, of the idea of licensing, get in with interior designers, because they also use a lot of art when they're designing spaces. So if you network with them and they know you, they may get by your things. But I'm going to answer it a little different. And before I challenge you on the question, I'm going to challenge you on not being creative, because I think your podcast shows that you really are, because that's such a great idea. And it is an art, like speaking and planning a podcast. So don't count yourself out. I think everybody's a creative, but even just in terms of the creative arts and industry as a whole, a podcast counts. So you're one of us.
Well, thank you for that.
I would answer slightly different, because they've already given you some really good answers. The money that you charge, you really need to make sure that you're charging enough. One example I really love to use is wedding photographers. You would never say that their income is unpredictable just because they know that they will get money in the strong season when weddings are happening. Was it March, maybe the earliest, to September, October, and then in winter everything dries. So if you're thinking of creative income as like a month-to-month thing, yes, that's unpredictable, because you're never going to know about the clients. But if you're thinking of a longer term and you charge enough for your work to know, I will need this amount of money to meet my annual goal, paying all my expenses, having extras for emergencies and everything that you account in a budget. Obviously you teach all of these things, so you know that, and your audience knows that. And you look at a bigger picture and you start planning the money to say, okay, if I don't have any money coming in from this specific stream, and obviously other streams can come in at that time, how can I make sure that my needs are met? And you price based on that, and you do the work internally to know that that's the pricing, and that you can charge it, and the people will pay, and it flows from there. So that's another consideration.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that answer. That's beautiful. And what a great idea. Interior design, getting in with them. I know a lot of real estate agents that will stage homes, and they'll look for artists. One of them, I have a friend who actually has been using the same setup in the living room for like 10 years. I'm like, shouldn't you change out like the artwork or something? Make it more different. So yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, next question. The creative industry is constantly evolving. How do you stay financially prepared and adapt to changes in the market or industry trends? And we'll start with Paula.
So the industry is constantly evolving. How do you stay financially prepared and adapt to changes in the market or industry trends? Following the market is, I don't know. I follow trends somewhat, but I'm not, definitely being prepared in general financially. You've got to always have that. That's something I know that you teach. So don't quit your day job, right? Have an income backup, have buckets of money saved, make sure that have buckets of money saved.
Yes, we love buckets. We love our money buckets.
I'm just imagining little like buckets all over my studio of money. I think that's a great visualization. But I think, honestly, I do. My husband also contributes a lot. I do not do this entirely on my own. If I had to do this totally on my own, I would, and I would figure it out. I probably would have to open up a storefront and run classes like that. Right now, I am a side income to our family, but I totally make a good amount of money from what I'm doing. So, but that's not exactly the answer to your question. I feel like that question is like, staying prepared is you just have to have backup. That's really all I can say about that. Just have your backup, have your savings, yourself ready to go, so that when things change, like right now, recession, war, are people buying art? I'm getting ready for Black Friday. I'm pricing my art. Am I making it a little bit lower than I used to? Maybe. Am I going to offer a bigger discount than I used to? Maybe. So those are some things that I would say too. And don't go too low, but people love a good sale. So that's a roundabout answer to your question.
No, it was a great answer. Thank you so much. And yeah, everything is so unpredictable. And when we have our wealth activation roadmap in place, we can make it a little bit more predictable, but it's hard. It's been a really unusual year. Since the pandemic, nothing has been predictable. Yesterday the market did fantastic. I was just like, wow, like 10x my profit in one day. But the last 6 or 7 weeks have not been good at all. Okay, Alexis, you're up.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give a very geeky answer because I actually have a master's degree in history. And this has taught me something. It's a bit roundabout as well. We think that the creative industries are harder and less predictable than other industries. But if you look at the history of economics, markets have always been volatile in whatever things. And we've been through the pandemic. We know the things happened that we could have not predicted would come. So it's letting it go a little and know that everybody's in the same boat, and it's not just the creative industry. Yes, food, you might say that's a bit safer, but actually if you look at it and you dig it and you see sometimes the shortages of food is not as safe just because it is like a need, and we tend to think of the arts and the creative industries as like a luxury thing, and so we think they work in a different way. They don't. Everything in the economy works the same way, and it's equally unpredictable. So you have, if you feel safe having unpredictable things in like your investments going up and down in stocks and all of the things, you feel safe with the unpredictability of the creative industry. Shouldn't let that stop you. Not sure if he actually answered the question, kind of like went on a roundabout way. But
Yeah,
it's
no, it's perfect.
Again, being open to finding the solution when the problem comes, rather than becoming anxious about the potential of the thing happening, because you may expect that something will happen and you may not know exactly what it is until you actually face the problem.
Absolutely. A lot of it has to do with the thought process. Like, yeah, you just like you said, you invest in the stock. No one thinks twice about that. But then when it comes to art, we're like, oh, well, no, and how resaleable is it? Is it worth it? And what's the ROI? And all these thoughts come into our head about it. Our thoughts are the most powerful tool that we have. So that was a great viewpoint. Thank you so much, Alexis. Sara Bernadette.
I agree with both of them on this, but Alexis, you brought up kind of what I was wanting to mention, and that is stay solution focused. Trust in your ability to handle it, because you have been 100% successful at surviving your worst days so far. You're here, and as long as you're here, then you can figure it out, whatever it is. And so if something happens in the market and what was working suddenly stops working, okay, great. That's a challenge. That's an exciting opportunity for you to create something new, which, hello, as a creative, that's all we want to do is create new things. So I don't look at market trends or industry trends that change things so drastically as a problem. It may stink if I really enjoy putting out whatever it is, but when like COVID happened, I'm grateful I had closed my face painting business prior to COVID happening, but I watched the face painting and balloon twisting industry like have the panic. They were like, what do we do? Like, we can't go to a party and face paint anymore. How do we shift this? The twisters made yard signs where they were putting balloons in people's yards celebrating that there was somebody in the house's birthday today. And so they were selling those as structures to put up. Face painters started shifting to teaching and teaching the skill set of what they were doing, where some of them had done that prior to already. They were just good artists and people wanted to learn how they painted something, but more and more of them were doing that. And then several of them shifted into just doing kind of content creation and making money off their content. And several of them had skills they didn't even know that got put on TV shows because of their skills to be able to do this. So when something happens, trust in your ability to just continue to do what it is that you love, no matter what. And the market will support you. I feel like no matter what, you will find a niche, and there's plenty of people out there that are like super interested in the geeky stuff that you find cool. There's always a market. I think there's always going to be a market. And so if there's something that you're hiding about yourself because you think it's too nerdy and other people aren't going to like it, I promise you, if OnlyFans can exist the way that it does, there's plenty of stuff that you can do as an artist, that there is a niche market for you, and they just have to put it out there so that they know that it exists.
Yeah, take the risk,
Absolutely.
Be different. I love that. Final question. We're going to start with you, Alexis. Can you share any tools or resources that have been valuable to you in managing your finances as a creative professional?
Oh, my answer, like automatic, was actually, I don't know if this is something that you have in the US with this specific brand, but I'm sure that you must have different companies. I have my investment being taken automatically from my bank account. And having also probably ADHD, I actually haven't gone through a route to get a diagnosis yet. I forget things unless I kind of see them. And so if I had to take the money out and do it, it would never happen. And instead, that way I have the money building itself for emergencies, and not just putting it automatically in a savings account. It's actually growing because it is in an investment account. So yeah, a bit risky because then it can fall. It's not my only investment, but automation, I would say, is the thing that I find the most helpful in managing money.
I love that. Thank you. Sara Bernadette.
This one's a little tougher, I would say, for me, but I do like systems and all of that, all the techie things that you can use. As far as an answer to like tools or resources, Google is going to be your big friend, as far as a big one, because there is so much that we don't know. And if you can just search it and then just start investigating the different resources that are available. I recently learned of a place called AppSumo, which is a place where you can find discount deals on a lot of the popular applications that we all use in our business that will get you like 50% off for your first year, which if you're just starting out is tremendous. Sorry, cat is attacking my foot. Weird faces, I apologize. Another one that I think is super useful is don't be afraid to use free things if you need to, right? There's a lot of very powerful tools out there that are free or very low cost. And while it may be nice to use the fancy thing that has all of it included, I built my business with $0 in my bank account. I didn't even have internet. I lived completely off grid and had to use just my cell phone data in order to launch a website design business, which meant things took a heck of a lot longer to upload than I would have liked. But I was able to build it with a free website to get my information out there. So if somebody wanted to see a portfolio, it was a place where all of the sites I'd built were linked. And then I used a free email campaign service at the beginning. Then as income started coming in, I quite literally just started shifting it over to what I really wanted to use it on. And then that monthly expense was manageable at that point. But you don't have to have the best of the best to get started. As long as it all connects and does what it's supposed to do, there's nothing wrong with using something free. I've heard that so many times where they're like, oh, but it's not the best. I'm like, that's okay. Trust me, nobody cares. Most people don't even know. But the best thing that I recommend is like, don't be afraid to get out there, even if it's not perfect. Use the resources that you can afford at that time. And when managing your finances on the other side, I loved Alexis's answer in regards to being able to have it automated. Like she mentioned a high interest option. I mean, I use an online bank. I don't use a brick and mortar bank. So my interest rate in my savings account is like 4.25. And when I worked at a bank, best you could get was 5%. And that was in a 6-year-long CD that you couldn't touch. Right. Now I can get that in my regular savings account and I can jump into whenever I need to. So there's plenty of options out there that are out of the box, which I love anything out of the box. My program is called Business Outside the Box. I love looking for those things that are not quite the norm, but they work for those that are just getting started and are not as tech savvy and need those pieces that kind of pull together to create a functional system for you. And do what works for you. It doesn't have to be what everyone else says is the thing to do. I've had coaches tell me, you know, use the best of the best. This is what my coach uses, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, cool, I can't afford $200 a month to do that. So I'm going to use the thing that's free or $15 a month. I'm going to make the best of it, because when you need that, especially if like something's on the slower end of business, you don't want to have to find that $200 when you have something that's only 15, right? give yourself a lot of options and be flexible, because it's not going to matter in the long run as long as you're enjoying business, you're enjoying your life every day, and you're having fun in what you're doing. Because that's really what we get into entrepreneurship for, is to enjoy life more than we did when we were working our 9 to 5, right?
Absolutely. I love that. And as a wealth activator, I tell my clients all the time, free is good. That's more money in your pocket.
Absolutely.
And when you're ready to expand your operating expenses, let's do it based on what your gross revenue is and take it from there, always reverse engineering it. So I love that. Thank you so much. Paula, what tools or resources have you used that are valuable that you can share with us?
So I have a crutch, unfortunately, because my husband is like a CFO for a company and he does a lot of the stuff. Now, that being said, it's like a weak spot, right? So what do I need to do to learn? And I am getting much better at it. I will say setting up an LLC has been a great thing for my business. Also having my own credit card that I use specifically for all of my charges that just go straight through the business. So keeping the finances like separate so that we can keep track of what I'm doing versus what everything else is going on. That has been actually much better for us as when we go to file taxes. Those things are important. I use Squarespace for my website. I really appreciate the way that integrates easily with my Stripe and my PayPal. These are just like basics, I'm talking about. Also, having a high yield savings account for sure, and having a way to invest your money. So I have my own investments that I put my money into for my business that I can watch grow through Wealthfront and other things like that. But these are just like basic finances things. There's another great thing, another tool that I don't particularly use because I have just kind of used spreadsheets. Hello, spreadsheets are a tool that are free that you can use.
I love them. They're my favorite.
Welcome to spreadsheet world, which I hate, which my husband set up for me. But, using Artwork Archive is a great way to do your inventory. That's an online service that you can use. I know a lot of artists who use that one. I do not. I use my own spreadsheets. But, I feel like today it is so easy, like you were saying, Sara Bernadette, to just Google and to like freaking learn some things and figure it out. Everything is figure outable, right? And being able to do it on your own. So I am like letting my crutch go a little bit and getting back to being more in control. I mean, I definitely know how to pull the money in, and then managing it, I put it in my own little buckets. But using more tools where I can streamline it even better, that I'm always looking for those. So, but those are a couple things that I think could be helpful for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is so very simple, and we tend to complicate things. And, just like we need a personal trainer to help us, release those extra, that extra weight or what have you. We need a wealth activator to help us manage that money, change our thoughts towards it, and really look at it and say, okay, what buckets do I need? And how can I keep my business expenses separate from my personal expenses so that I'm not borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and having that steady, income, and knowing like, this is what I get to invest in myself and in my business so that it multiplies and I create that reciprocal energy of giving and receiving. Because as beautiful creatives, you're giving so much of yourselves with the creative side and the financial side too. And when you can give back and receive, it just creates this beautiful, I like to just picture it as a beautiful field of flowers where we all get to just enjoy the beauty and the scent and the creativity of all of it. And it just gives you that sense of calm and peace. So thank you so much, ladies, for sharing all of the things that you do. And just go around. We'll start with you, Paula. Give us your little elevator pitch. I know in the beginning you introduced yourselves, but just to wrap up, what's your elevator pitch?
I hate those things. Okay, so I am Paula Brett. I am a fine artist. I do contemporary abstract paintings. You can see some of them around me. I am also a teacher of how to make your own contemporary abstract paintings with your authentic voice. I am also a facilitator of expressive arts that really helps you open up and express your authentic voice. This is for people, anyone, not necessarily even artists at all, people who just want to use art as a medium to be able to feel their feelings, express themselves. And then finally, I'm a coach for creatives who feel like they've got patterns that are blocking them in ways and want to move past them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Sara Bernadette.
All right. I am Sara Bernadette, the Potty Mouth Corporate Rebel, and I support those not so tech savvy entrepreneurs in rocket launching their offers or their business through simple to implement systems and strategies. My primary focus has always been to help those that think tech is their problem, and creating a system and the strategy that they can easily implement for themselves so that they're able to get it up off the ground, get it launched, get it going, and not let the tech piece hold them back. I absolutely love what I do in that space. And when the tech itself, if I'm doing it for you, or if you want to do it yourself, I have a coaching program called Business Outside the Box that is specifically designed to help take that overwhelming, I'm trying to launch a business, how do I do this? And take it one step at a time, break it down, set you up for success so that when you have clients coming in, you are ready to go and you don't feel like, now what do I do? And then just as a side thing that I do, we own an urban farm in Arizona. So we are creating a lot of fun, and the focus of that is to build a self-implemented lifestyle or a self-sustainable lifestyle that allows you to grow your own veggies in your backyard and to be able to just make healthier choices. I have a goal to lose 200 pounds. So that is my goal. And I'm doing that through the farm. And because it is part of my creative outlet to build what I do for the farm, I feel that it's fitting to put into this space because creating a new life for myself is one of the many ways I get to be creative. So I'm very excited to include that in this today.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much. Alexis.
So I am your go-to witch photographer if you are a creative artist, entrepreneur, intuitive and spiritual business. And I love to help people empower themselves in having a life that they don't want to escape. But also my biggest passion, on top of just helping everybody loving the life that they lead, I think the arts are one of the most important things about what it means to be human. And I think artists should be the wealthiest people on earth because of just how much they contribute. And I'd love to build a movement that's going to see that happen in my lifetime.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Woo-woo. Everyone's cheering on. That's awesome. Thank you so much, ladies, for being here. For those of you watching live, thank you for joining us. We'll check out comments later. And this will be up on the YouTube channel, I Date Money, Money Talks, probably in the next 48 hours. So check it out. Be sure to share it with your friends. Check the show notes for the links to connect with these ladies and, you know, whatever it is that they do that connected with you. You're like, yeah, I need to know more about that. Go send them a friend request, get into their CRM and do all the things. And remember, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's what you do with it.